After surviving a staged car accident that was meant to kill her, Elena hires a private security team. Among them is a quiet man with haunting eyes and a past he's running from. Aiden. In the heart of Manhattan, Elena Moore was no ordinary woman. She was young, brilliant, the CEO of a rising tech company. Elegant, mysterious, the kind of woman that seemed untouchable. Yet behind her success was a trail of threats, surveillance, and near-death accidents that couldn't be explained. After her car's brake line was cut in what investigators called an accident, Elena knew it was time. She needed protection, real protection. Then she put out an information request for a private security bodyguard. On a rainy Thursday in New York City, the kind of cold drizzle that makes the whole city feel heavy, Aiden Cross sat at the far end of a bar in Midtown. No drinks, just black coffee and silence. He had his back to the wall, eyes sweeping the room every few seconds like it was second nature. Because for him, it was. He wasn't in the mood to talk. He rarely was. The bartender knew not to disturb him. Most people did. But that night, a man slid into the seat across from him. Expensive suit, slick smile, and a quiet menace that said he didn't belong in a bar like this. His name was Victor Kane, and Aiden had worked with him before. Once. A job in Prague. Clean, discreet, paid in full. Victor didn't waste time. There's a woman, Elena Moore, CEO of Ascentech. She's looking for private protection. Aiden didn't look up. I'm not interested. You haven't even heard the offer. Victor said smoothly, I don't do civilian jobs. She's not just any civilian. Victor leaned in, lowering his voice. She's in danger, real danger. People have tried to kill her. Brakes cut, penthouse bugged, office infiltrated. She needs someone who won't freeze under pressure. Aiden narrowed his eyes. So why me? Victor paused. Because someone's paying extra, not just to protect her, but to get close to her. Build trust. Be her shadow. Aiden looked at him. And then what? Victor shrugged. You'll know when the time comes. 3 days later, Aiden stood in the lobby of Ascentech Tower, all glass and steel, sleek floors, and suited staff moving with precision. He wore a simple black suit, nothing flashy, just clean, sharp, neutral. A woman with sharp heels and a clipboard led him to the executive floor. Miss Moore will see you now. Elena Moore's office was massive. City skyline behind her, bookshelves lined with finance books, a vase of white lilies on her desk. She stood by the window, arms crossed, elegant, calm, unreadable. She turned when she heard the door, and for a moment Aiden's breath caught. She wasn't what he expected. Not cold, not hard, just real. Elena Moore, she said, extending a hand. Aiden Cross, he replied. She looked him over, not like most people did, not with fear or suspicion, but with curiosity. You've got quite the resume, she said, scanning the folder her assistant had handed her earlier. Special Forces, 3 Black Ops units, 5 years in private international security. What made you leave? People, Aiden said. They lie. I stopped wanting to protect the wrong ones. Something flickered in her eyes. A bit of surprise, and maybe respect. Do you always speak so directly? She asked. Aiden didn't smile. Only when I want to be understood. That was the moment she hired him. The next 2 weeks were uneventful, at least on the surface. Aiden settled into a quiet rhythm, following Elena from the office to her penthouse, analyzing her patterns, checking exits and windows before she entered a room. He never made small talk, never joked, always watching. But Elena, she was different. She worked long hours but always made time to speak kindly to her staff. She thanked the janitor by name, left handwritten notes for her assistant. She watered her own office plants. One night, as they rode the elevator in silence, she spoke. You always look like you're expecting something to go wrong, she said softly. I am, he replied. She studied him. That must be exhausting. It keeps people alive. And who keeps you alive? She asked. He didn't answer. That night, Aiden stood outside her apartment as she fell asleep. His earpiece was quiet. No threats, no signs. But inside, he felt something shifting. She wasn't just a job anymore. 2 months passed. Aiden became part of Elena's world, yet always remained one step behind it. Quiet, controlled, and invisible when needed. But Elena noticed everything. She noticed how he opened doors without a sound, how he scanned every room like a soldier, how his hand would instinctively reach for the inside of his jacket whenever someone raised their voice near her. He was her shadow, but somehow her comfort too. And he noticed things about her too, how she hummed under her breath while working late, how she talked to her plants like old friends, how she always looked out the window right before bed, like she was searching for something she lost long ago. One night rain fell again. heavy, angry. Elena couldn't sleep. She walked into the living room of her penthouse and found Aiden standing near the glass balcony door, arms crossed, watching the storm. She didn't speak at first, but he sensed her. "You should be asleep," he said without turning. She hesitated. "So should you. I sleep with one eye open." She smiled faintly, stepping beside him. The city lights flickered in the glass. For a moment, they both watched in silence. Then she asked quietly, "Do you ever regret it?" Aiden glanced at her. "Regret what?" "Living like this, always on edge, never allowing yourself to feel safe." His voice was low. "Safe isn't real." She turned to face him fully. "It is, Aiden, but only when you allow yourself to feel it." Their eyes met, a glance that lingered longer than it should have. The air between them shifted. Warm. Dangerous. "Why are you really here?" she asked suddenly. He stiffened. "I hired you to protect me, but sometimes it feels like you're protecting yourself from me too." He looked away. "You don't know me." "Then let me," she whispered. The next night, something happened that neither of them expected. It was late. Elena had just finished a heated board meeting, her shoulders tight with stress. She came home, kicked off her heels, and poured herself a glass of wine. She found Aiden sitting alone in the guest room, eyes closed, head tilted back against the chair. For the first time, he looked tired. Human. She walked in quietly and placed the glass of wine on the table beside him. He opened his eyes. "Peace offering?" he asked. "You looked like you needed it." He nodded and took a slow sip, watching her over the rim of the glass. Then she did something she never planned. She reached out and gently brushed a cut on his cheek with her fingertips. He flinched, not from pain, but from how soft her touch felt. "You got this protecting me yesterday," she whispered. "It's nothing," he said, but his voice wasn't steady. Her eyes met his. "It's everything to me." Silence wrapped around them again, heavy with words they hadn't said. And then it happened. He leaned in slowly, unsure if it was right, but she didn't move. Her lips parted. A breath, a heartbeat, a surrender. Their lips met, software cautious, trembling, but it deepened quickly. His hand cupped her jaw. Her fingers curled into his shirt. The kiss wasn't perfect. It was real, messy, honest. The kind of kiss that tasted like everything they were trying to deny. Then she pulled back, breathless, her eyes wide with fear and longing. "This is wrong," she whispered. "I know," he said, "but why does it feel like the only thing that's right?" She stood, confused, pacing. "You're my bodyguard. This can't happen again." He nodded slowly. "As you wish." But neither of them slept that night. And when she lay in bed, her fingers brushed her lips, remembering the warmth of his mouth, the way his breath hitched, the way her body betrayed her mind and leaned in when she should have pulled away. She wanted to forget, but she couldn't. The kiss changed everything. Aiden became quieter, sharper, but not because he didn't feel something. He did. Too much. It was guilt, fear, longing. He was falling in love with the woman he was meant to betray. And worst of all, he was falling for her truth, her honesty, her resilience, her gentle kindness that made his mission feel like a sin. Elena, on the other hand, was trying hard to pretend it didn't happen. But the harder she tried, the more he filled her thoughts. She would catch herself staring at him, during coffee, while reviewing contracts, while he stood silently at the door, eyes constantly scanning for threats. But she felt safe around him. Not just physically, emotionally, and that terrified her. One morning, Elena received a letter on her office desk. No name, just a white envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "You don't know who he really is?" That was all it said. Her stomach sank. Her fingers trembled. She turned to look at Aiden, who stood in his usual place by the glass wall, calm, unbothered. But now, the seed had been planted. She didn't confront him. Not yet. She needed to know. And she had one person she trusted more than anyone. Sabrina, her older sister. Sabrina had always been the more practical one, the colder one, the business-minded shark who built empires and shattered glass ceilings. Elena loved her, but they had grown apart over the years. Sabrina was distant, controlling, never approving of Elena's soft heart or charitable lifestyle. Still, Elena called her. "Sabrina, can I trust you with something personal?" she asked. Her sister's voice came calm over the phone. "Of course, darling." "What's wrong?" "I think someone's watching me. I think I've let someone too close." There was a pause. "Is this about the bodyguard?" Sabrina asked. Elena froze. How did you know?" But Sabrina's voice changed, cold, measured. "Be careful, Elena. Not everyone close to you is who they seem." The call ended. Elena stood still for a long moment, her heart pounding. Something wasn't right. That night, Aiden got a call. A private number, a voice he hadn't heard in weeks. "Sabrina?" "You're behind schedule," she said bluntly. "I didn't sign up to hurt her," Aiden said quietly. "You signed up to follow orders," she snapped. "You're a weapon. Don't you dare forget who made you valuable." "She's not who you think she is." "Oh, but she is," Sabrina interrupted. "Naive, emotional, weak, and if you don't finish what you were paid for, I will." Aiden's jaw clenched. His grip on the phone tightened. "If you touch her, I'll bury you." But Sabrina only chuckled. "You already are buried, Aiden. Under your lies, your guilt, your past. Just remember, I gave you a life. Don't make me take hers." He ended the call, rage boiling beneath his skin. That was the night he made his decision. He walked into Elena's living room. She was curled up reading. She looked up at him, her face softening instantly. "We need to talk," he said. And for the first time, he told her everything. Who hired him? Why? The mission. The betrayal. Her face didn't change right away, but her eyes did. They glassed over, then narrowed with disbelief. "My sister? I didn't know it was her at first. But yes, Sabrina hired me. She said you were becoming a liability in the business, that someone had to control you." Silence. Thick. Drowning. Then her voice broke like glass. "And what was your job, Aiden? To kill me?" He didn't answer. Tears welled in her eyes. She stepped back. "You kissed me. You touched me. All while knowing I didn't know I'd fall for you," he whispered. And then she slapped him. Hard. And walked away. But even as she locked the door behind her, she cried on the other side, her hand trembling, because despite it all, she still loved him. Elena didn't sleep that night. She sat alone by the window, arms wrapped around her knees, staring into nothing, her mind looping one question. Was any of it ever real? Every touch, every word, every lingering glance from Aiden, now all tainted by the truth. She felt humiliated, used, betrayed by the one person she finally let in after building walls for years. But what hurt more than anything was that she still wanted him. She still remembered how his hands shook the night of the kiss, how gently he pulled her closer, how he looked at her like she was something sacred in a world that only knew how to break things. Across the city, Aiden sat in his car, head resting on the steering wheel, replaying her voice when she asked, "Was your job to kill me?" He had no answer then. But now, as pain dug into his chest, he knew the truth. He would burn the world before he let anyone hurt her, including himself. He thought walking away was the right thing, but leaving her felt like carving his own soul out. That morning, he wrote a letter. No lies, no charm, just truth. "Elena, I never planned to fall in love with you, but I did. I never planned to betray you, but I did. And now, the only thing I plan to do is fight for you, even if you never forgive me." Aiden, he slipped it under her door and left. Sabrina had waited long enough. With Elena no longer protected, she moved in fast, freezing bank accounts, threatening board members, spreading rumors in the media to destroy Elena's credibility. Elena tried to fight back, but she was collapsing, not just from the attack on her company, but from the weight in her chest. Then, it happened. Late one night, Elena was driving alone, rain pouring on her windshield, when she saw the headlights behind her, too close. She tried to turn, speed up, but the car rammed her side. Once, twice. She swerved off the road. Everything went black. She woke up in a hospital bed, bandaged, aching, confused. The nurse whispered softly, "You're lucky. Someone found you and carried you in." That's when she looked to the corner of the room. Aiden, bruised, wet, eyes red from lack of sleep and worry. He had stayed at her side for 2 days straight. "I thought I lost you," he said barely above a whisper. She looked away, silent. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, but I didn't come to be forgiven. I came to protect you, for real this time." Still, she said nothing, until hours later when she finally whispered through cracked lips, "Don't leave." He looked at her, stunned. "You broke me," she said, tears slipping down her cheeks. "But something in me still believes in you. I don't know why." Aiden moved closer, sitting beside her bed. He didn't touch her. He just looked at her with the softest voice she'd ever heard him use. Because even broken hearts remember who made them beat. Elena sat in the hospital garden, a blanket over her shoulders. The air was cold, but not colder than the war raging inside her. Aiden stood beside her, silent. Everything between them now lived in this fragile space. Not fully broken, not fully healed. She finally turned to him. "You said you came to protect me. So protect what I built. I want to take my company back. I want to destroy everything Sabrina tried to do. But this time," she looked up, her eyes fierce, unblinking. "You're not doing it for me. You're doing it with me." Aiden nodded. Then let's finish what she started. Back in Elena's penthouse, they gathered the pieces. Her laptop, wiped. The security systems, all compromised. Her board members, divided by fear and lies. But Aiden had been watching Sabrina longer than Elena knew. He pulled out a black case. Inside were USB drives, surveillance tapes, phone recordings, proof of how Sabrina had been embezzling funds from Elena's company even before she hired Aiden to betray her. "I recorded everything," he said. "I was supposed to bring you down, but I couldn't stop watching you rise." Elena stared at the evidence, then at Aiden. Her voice was quiet, but her words were steel. "We're not just taking my company back, we're taking her down." They released the tapes to select board members first. The loyal ones, the ones who still believed in Elena. Aiden tracked Sabrina's financial weaknesses, her hidden accounts, her secret offshore properties. Elena called for an emergency board meeting, claiming she had new revelations to share. Sabrina laughed when she heard. "Let her try," she told her assistant. "No one believes a woman with a ruined name and a broken heart." The boardroom was silent. Cameras recorded everything. Elena walked in. No makeup, no designer suit. Just truth in her eyes and fire in her veins. She placed a file on the table. "Open it," she said calmly. Sabrina did, and for the first time in years, her hands shook. Inside, transaction records, voice clips, emails. Her betrayal laid bare. "I trusted you," Elena said, and you used me." Sabrina stood, voice rising. "You think they'll believe you? After your scandal? After your bodyguard broke your heart?" That's when Aiden stepped into the room. The board gasped. "I did break her heart," Aiden said. "But now I'm here to protect what she built and expose who tried to steal it." The news exploded within hours. Real estate queen Sabrina Hudson, exposed in corporate scandal, former bodyguard turns whistleblower in viral boardroom takedown. Sabrina was arrested within the week. Elena's name was cleared. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She just stood by Aiden's side and said, "Now the world knows who I really am." They returned to her home. The city glittered below them like 1,000 little secrets. Elena stood at the edge of the balcony, her silk robe swaying in the breeze. The war was over, but the ache hadn't fully left her chest. Behind her, Aiden stood silently. Neither of them spoke for a while. The silence was heavy but not uncomfortable. It was real. It was earned. She finally turned. "You could leave now," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "You've done more than enough." Aiden's jaw tightened, his eyes locked with hers. "I never wanted to leave," he said. "I just didn't think I deserved to stay." He took a slow step toward her. "Elena, I didn't fall in love with the woman everyone sees. I fell for the one who sat alone in her office after midnight, crying silently because she didn't want to seem weak. I fell for the woman who gave a stranger like me a chance, even when the whole world told her not to." Her breath caught in her throat. "I'm still scared," she said, almost like a confession. Of trusting again, of needing someone. He reached out, gently brushing her cheek with his thumb. "Then let me be the one thing you don't have to be afraid of." She didn't reply with words. She leaned in, and their lips met again. But this time it wasn't rushed. It wasn't desperate. It was slow, soft, and painfully honest. A kiss not of passion, but of recognition. A kiss that whispered, "You're safe now." The rain began to fall outside, gently tapping against the windows. Elena led him in by the hand. She lit no candles, played no music. It was quiet. He kissed her again, slower this time. His hands, once trained for combat, now trembled as they touched her, not out of fear, but out of reverence, like she was something fragile and sacred. Her robe slid down her shoulders. His shirt fell beside the bed. There were no games, no rush, just breath against breath, skin against skin, truth against truth. In that room, they weren't bodyguard and client. They weren't the betrayed and the betrayer. They were just two broken souls, finding shelter in each other. After, she lay with her head on his chest, his arms wrapped around her protectively. "Do you think this is real?" she asked. He kissed the top of her head. "It's the only thing that's ever felt real." A long silence followed. Her fingers drew soft circles on his skin. "I used to think love was a weakness," she whispered. "So did I," he said, "until it became the only thing that saved me." Outside, the rain stopped. Inside, for the first time in both their lives, the storm finally ended.